The thing people always get wrong about flowers, they think about it's like prettiness. And I get that, because flowers are pretty, and obviously, but that's not actually the interesting part about them. The most interesting part is that they're dying. Like the moment that you cut a stem, the clock starts. And most people find that sad, but I think that that's the whole point. That's what makes it art. You're working with something that has maybe 5 days, or maybe 10 if you're lucky with the water temperature, and you have to make something that feels eternal within that time frame, just within that one window. And that tension is everything to me. I came to this really sideways. I was in grad school for painting, oil painting, very serious, this is fine art. And I was broke, obviously, because MFA student, and I started helping a florist on the weekends just for the money. And I remember the first time that I did like a full arrangement on my own, unsupervised, and I stepped back and I looked at it and I thought, this is more interesting than anything that I have made in 2 years of grad school, which was a very uncomfortable thing to realize at that time. But the arrangement moved, whereas the painting just kind of sat there. This thing that I had made was going to open and shift and then drop petals and change color at the edges, and then it was going to be gone. And I could not stop thinking about that. So I left, which my parents were, that was a fun conversation. They were like, oh, you left fine arts to sell flowers. And I'm like, I'm not selling flowers. Well, okay, I am selling flowers, but that's not all that it is. What I actually do, the work that I care about is installations, the large scale ones. I did one last spring at a gallery opening, and we covered an entire 16-foot wall in dried pampas grass and fresh garden roses, and we wired them so they came out at all of these different depths. So the whole thing had this dimensionality to it, like you could just walk towards it and it kept changing what it was. People were standing in front of it and just not talking, which is the best thing, when people just stop talking. The weddings are, I do weddings, and they pay for everything else, so I'm not going to complain about the weddings. But there is, a certain kind of bride who comes in with a Pinterest board, and every single image on the board is the exact same arrangement. It's white roses and eucalyptus, very clean, very timeless. But then she says that she wants something unique. And I've learned to just listen, but most importantly to ask questions, because usually underneath the Pinterest board there's an actual person with an actual vision, and sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't, but I always try. The thing that I love most, and this sounds weird, so stay with me, is asymmetry. Symmetrical arrangements are comfortable. They're very satisfying. People like them, and that's fine. But an asymmetrical arrangement has this energy, this like intention to it. It's learning something. It wants something. And I think that that's more honest, actually, because nothing in nature is perfectly symmetrical. A face isn't symmetrical. A tree isn't symmetrical. So why would I make a thing that looks like it was cut out of a mold? My favorite flower, people always ask me this, and they expect me to say something like a peony or a garden rose, and I love those. Don't get me wrong, but my actual favorite is a thistle, which is technically a weed. It's spiky and it's purple and it's a little aggressive, but it lasts forever, and it looks incredible when it's next to something that is soft and delicate, because it's that contrast. It makes both things more themselves. And I think that that's what good design does, actually. It doesn't blend everything together into something smooth and easy. It puts things next to each other and makes them stranger and more interesting. I do have perpetually scratched up hands, by the way. Roses mostly. People romanticize roses, but they will actually destroy you if you're not paying attention to them. I don't really mind anymore. It's like occupational proof that, you know, I did the thing.